afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining our coaching call today. We're so happy to have Hanshi Dave Kovar lead us in focusing on grassroots marketing and several different strategies that are working for him and his schools. And then we'll also be joined by Alexis Tearney Kuhl, second generation owner of Tearney's Martial Arts, to talk about some of her successes with grassroots marketing too. So we have a jam-packed call today. And then don't forget at the end of the call, we'll have a Q&A session. So please, as we're talking today, write down questions that you have that come up. You can drop them in the chat or save them for the Q&A at the end. You'll have a chance to ask both Hanshi and Alexis your questions. So without further ado, Mr. Kovar, will you please take it away?
Yeah, super excited about being on the line. Hello, everybody. And Mr. Coquinos, thanks always for having us and the rest of the EFC team. And super excited about being able to ask a lot of questions from she and Alexis Tearney, too. Of course, I remember you when you were just a young whippersnapper, and here you are, this like professional school owner that's just killing it. I'm so glad you're able to share the time with you. I'm eager to learn some from you. And the focus is going to be of this call. Most of what we're going to talk about is stuff that you've probably heard a lot of this, okay? But you've heard it before, but successful people don't need to be told what to do. They just kind of sometimes need to be reminded about it. And I want to remind everybody, and this goes without saying, but I want to say it anyway. If you want a good, growing grassroots marketing program, the most important thing you can do is make sure that your program is rocking, right? That you are servicing your students, because it's hard to get people to refer and hard to have a big buzz, good buzz in your about your school and your community if you're not like having an outstanding program. So it's always goes back to uh, making sure that your floors are covered. Quick story before I start asking Miss Alexis some questions is years ago I was visited a gentleman's school, and he was in a major metropolis, and he had recently retired from he's like an executive in a company, and he bought this building. He had a part-time school. He bought this gorgeous building, pristine, standalone building, big old parking lot. And I was coaching him, and I couldn't figure out, we just couldn't seem to get him to grow his program. And so finally I got a chance to visit him firsthand. I pull in the parking lot, and it's well lit. It's beautiful. I walk inside, every picture, the frame is even, it smells good. Everything's like, I'm going, what's up? How come we can't grow this program? And I walk around the corner, and I watched a class going on, and it was 4 and 5 year olds being taught by a very mediocre instructor. And it was like, boom, oh, there you go. That was it. It was so clear that he put all this emphasis on everywhere else, but he forgot about that product. So I'll remind you guys, it's not easy, but always focus on the mat. And if you can do that, that allows for everything else to happen. So what I thought I would do is I would ask Shion Alexis, if you wouldn't mind, your specialty really is social media, grassroots marketing online. Would you give us some of the things that you focus on and how someone might be able to get started with that if they're not doing a very good job with it already?
Yeah, I mean, I was through COVID, it became my storefront because, as you know, my parents' school shut down and dealing with things, they never decided to reopen. So when I pivoted and kind of took things on Zoom, this was my only way to get to the outside world, to inform them, to market myself, to keep the program alive. And so out of necessity, it became something that I really used and utilized and learned. And so still maintaining still some of the things that I learned through that is just number one, being consistent, producing content on a constant basis and posting regularly, just right there on the Instagram page and on the Facebook page. Getting good at creating content that is eye-catching, that is, people will engage with and they'll be more likely to watch. And then finding those pieces of content that I then later turn into my paid ads. So when you see our ads running on Facebook, they're not produced by a marketing agency. They're not something that I purchased from somewhere. Like, I created them, I edited them. They are our students, and that, people get a good feel for the program just based on me utilizing the platforms the way that they are.
Yeah, so give me an example. Like, what can I do? What simple things? Because maybe I'm not technically savvy enough to do a lot of editing. What's something that real easy, like if I haven't done much at all, give me
Yeah.
something I can do. Give me a couple ideas that I can do every week.
I mean, pretty easy just to take, decent still photos. Let's just start with the basics. Things going on in your school, highlight them. Highlight students. A student that is performing and rocking it on the mat, highlight that student. If you have a graduation or a belt ceremony, always be sure to be taking pictures and encouraging your parents and everybody to take pictures because not only are you going to share it on your page, they're super excited. They're going to share it and produce their own written testimonies on their own Facebook pages and broadcast it to all of their networks. So, it really kind of takes on a life of its own. It's just remembering to do things in the moment. Like we got to capture that and make sure that that gets broadcasted. And then learning how to shoot video and edit and make cuts and things that people enjoy watching and highlight your classes. Let people get a feel for what goes on behind your doors by, producing content that actually shows that.
Mhm. Super important. So one of the things that I found really valuable is if there's a child that does a good job in class, to walk up to mom and say, "Hey, mom, do you have your camera? Why don't you put it on video?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, I'm working out here with Alexis. Show me your jab cross, Alexis. Isn't that awesome? I love her. She just got her orange belt. She is doing amazing. What do you like best about training? Oh, I love, having friends at the school. Awesome. High five. Boom." And mom takes that. Hey, could you tag the school when you post that? And then all of a sudden it gets on this completely other network, right? And by the way, I would remind everybody who, if you have kids here, is there anything cooler on the planet than having somebody say something nice about your child? That's the best. Okay. And so this is a nice way to leverage that to kind of, and it doesn't take a lot of effort on our part and it's an extra level. So tell me about like groups in the area. Are you involved in like, a parent group, mom groups in your community at all?
Yeah, naturally. I've got kids of my own, and so I keep my foot in the door on as much as they'll let me. And I've noticed lately sometimes they don't like to let you in when they find out that you own a local business. I don't know if they think that we're going to try to like manipulate the group or try to like sell in the group. I certainly don't ever do that. It's just more of like community sharing, like it's for the benefit of the community. I never a sales angle or anything like that. Also just good to kind of keep ears on the ground, right? So, if somebody is like looking for information for karate schools and people start talking about local schools, I want to see my parents and my students responding. And then if I need to chime in and say, yeah, hey, happy to send you a direct message or whatever. But just, keeping a hold of like what's going on in the community. And that way you can kind of be sort of like still have a voice in the discussions that are going on if they are about your school or karate in general.
It's interesting. There was a parent group where someone had commented how expensive our program was, right? Is there anybody, right there? And I wouldn't have seen it. It was some of our team members. And what was really cool to see, first off, we're not, right? It's just this person trained as a kid, and there's a difference in price from when they were training 30 years ago to now, right? But how many of our parents jumped in to defend the program? It was really, yeah. So it ended up being a really like nice event. So I would encourage you guys, if you're not already, and what something Alexa said is really important, and that is if you are going to get involved in groups, you're not selling, you're contributing. So when people see your name, the whole idea is you want them to go, wow, they've always got great content, right? And then every now and then there might be an oh, by the way, that you put in there. Okay. So Alexis, one more thing before we change gears. Should I do like if I don't know anything, I'm not doing any, should I do one picture of class a week, one reel a week, one story? Give me just kind of maybe a minimal, a very least outline that I can follow if I'm not doing anything online right now.
Sure. There's no rules or you know what I mean? Like it's yours. You can make it however you want it to be. Just know that the more consistent you are with it, the better it is. And consistent might look different for every single one of us. Consistent for some might be posting 3 times a day, and consistent for others might be 3 times a week. And if you are not posting at all, start with once a week, something that is doable, that gets you in the platform and helps you feel comfortable. I mean, we're all using social media. I think it's kind of hard to find people who aren't in social media. And so it's just a matter of using it and just hitting share. Like sometimes hitting share doesn't always feel good, like especially when you're putting your own voice and your own face out there. It's like, but you just do it and you'll be surprised by, the feedback that you get, the way people engage with it. And, just start is really the best advice.
I think it's such good advice. I know that about 2 years ago, our schools, the only stuff that was happening is we were pushing out from the company. I wasn't getting our schools to do it. And about 2 years ago, one of our gentlemen, his name is Jeremy Sipes, runs one of our locations, is great on social media. We added every week to our staff meetings a little 10-minute session on social media and different ideas. And it's amazing now how many of our schools, it took a long time to adopt. But how are really just killing it online. So great advice. The whole idea, if you're already posting, continue to post, be as consistent as possible. And if you're not, just get it started. Done is better than perfect. All right. Thank you, ma'am. I want to switch gears and I want to talk about some old school stuff, tried and true, that's been done forever, that's worth a review. The first thing I want to talk about is chances are, I've been to a few of your schools, but in most every case, chances are there are businesses within a few miles of your location. I'm looking at Marcus Trainer and the Buzz Dirk, and they're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no businesses close. You might have to go a little further. But the rest of us, we might have a neighbor pretty close, right across the street. And how many of us have ever had someone come into your business and try to sell you something? We've all had that happen. It's no fun, right? But what I want to do is a really good strategy if you really want to get your name out in the community is hit all the businesses, or you can be selective, of course, within maybe a mile of your location and walk in, and your premise is you're going with what I can do for you. So let's say you go to the pizza parlor and you're not going to go, hey, any chance you can pass out, a guest passes to all the people that buy pizza? They may or may not be interested. But imagine if you own a pizza parlor and I walked up and I said, hi, I have 300 families that come into my school every week. Do you have any coupons for your pizza that I can hand out to my students? That person, they're going to be all over that. They're going to be all over that. Okay. And so the idea is to go in and to share what you can do for them. And so let's just say, yeah, sure, here's some flyers, or put some together, however that might work. Oh, by the way, how many employees do you have? 12? Great. Here's 12 gas passes for our school for them, right? So you always lead with how I can help you out. Okay. And then over time, what happens is it's the law of reciprocation. Once people get to know you a little bit better and they're familiar with you, then they're way more likely to do some kind of group interaction. And it doesn't take a lot of time. I remember years ago going into one of our schools that we actually grew from 0 to 300 members in 1 year. And the gal, Julie, was the program director at this location. And I was with the head instructor that afternoon, and we were talking, and Julie walks in, and it's about 2:45, and she looks at her partner, the head instructor, and goes, 7 businesses in 10 minutes. She had a whole stack of stuff. And I go, huh? She goes, I just interacted with 7 businesses in 10 minutes. She walked in and she had a bunch of things to put up on our community board, right? And so that would be the first thing to start out with, right? Roll up your sleeves, get to know your community, get to meet people, what you can do for them. Okay. The second one, this is so basic, but reaching out to old leads. Okay, if you're not doing that on a regular basis, it's like, how many guys have ever had someone that did an intro with you that did not enroll and came back a year and a half later? Rick Herbster, did you ever have that happen? Yes, you have, right? Probably a lot of times. Why didn't they enroll a year and a half ago? Who knows? Maybe halfway through the trial program, little brother broke his arm, or dad's job was in jeopardy, or who knows why, but they showed an interest. Okay. My friend and partner on the East Coast, Nancy Walzog, I call her on New Year's Eve. It's about 5 o'clock East Coast time. I go, hey, Nancy, what are you doing? She goes, oh, I realize our numbers for December aren't very good, so I'm trying to register 10 members today. Right now I'm at 8. And what she was doing is she was reaching out to old leads. That's all she was doing. Okay. And by the way, hopefully, you have that's automated to a certain degree, but nothing is better than, personal communication. Okay, so I'd strongly encourage you to reach out to old members. And by the way, it's 7 words on your text. Are you still interested in martial arts? I think that's it. Are you still interested in martial arts? Yes, 7 words right there. It's a great, you're going to get a lot of no's. A lot of people aren't going to respond. But I promise you, if you send out 100 texts, you're going to get 7 or 8. Yes, I'm still interested. Okay, so super important. Reach out to old leads. Next one. Anybody ever bump into a student at the grocery store that used to train with you that no longer does, that maybe they divert their eyes at first because they're kind of embarrassed, and finally your carts bump into each other and, oh, good to see you, instructor. I've been meaning to come back. Has anybody ever had a conversation like that before? Right now, you have so many people that quit for whatever reason that are one call away, okay, from getting back into your school. Okay. Now, I don't know which ones they are, but I would strongly encourage you to print out a list of your inactive members. And if you'd like, you certainly can arrange it by people you have the best rapport with. Start with them first. people you remember specifically. Oh, the Jones family. Oh, I love those guys. That's right. They took the, they put their program on hold after soccer and they never came back. Let me see what's going on with them, right? And you pick up the phone. And by the way, if you find out they moved to Miami, you're not going to ask if they want to come back to class. But you know, it's just like an old teacher asking you just checking up on you. That's what it is. And they say, "Oh, by the way, I'm still in the area. Oh man, I'd love to have you back in the program." Okay, I promise you, you do this, you're going to get probably an 8 to 10% response, positive response out of this. Which now it's just a numbers game. Okay, it's just a matter of reaching out to old members. And by the way, there is zero downside to this. Even if someone doesn't enroll, you are back in their, you know, in their mindset. Okay, so now when the neighbor, they're talking to their neighbor, and the neighbor says, "Yeah, my child's getting bullied at school." Boom, guess what? Your school pops in. It may not have before, but they remember because you're keeping that emotional connection strong. So, by the way, yes, can you automate that? Of course you can, but real communication, it goes the furthest with that. They know it's not, especially with AI doing so much. It's such a great tool, but that makes that human connection more important now than ever. Okay. And here's the next one. With a show of hands, how many of you guys feel like referrals are your best source of new members? Anybody? Am I the only one? Okay. Okay. So we know this to be true. How many guys with a show of hands could do a better job asking for referrals? Most of us could. Okay, let's start there. All right, and here's what's I think really important. If you have a sign on the wall that says the greatest compliment you can give us is referring your friend, if you have some kind of referral campaign, that's all fine. That's all fine. Okay, but let me tell you, the key to referrals is having rapport and having one-on-one conversations. Okay, and let me give you an example. Uh, I have a text thread of all my head instructors. It's called the Masters Council, and we get together once a month and we talk about issues going on in all our schools. Okay, and if I need help in black belt prep at our headquarters school on Saturday morning, and I do a mass text to all of them, I need someone to help me out at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. I will maybe get a response or two. Most of the people just they don't respond. However, and these are good guys. This is my team. I love these guys and gals. But if I reach out directly to them and I say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, any chance you can help me out this Saturday at 8 o'clock?" Guess what? I get almost a universal response. So here's my point. Whatever else you're doing referrals, as far as automation, great. But walking up to a parent or student with which you have rapport with and looking them right in the eye. Okay. And this is why it's so important that you try to stay connected, not just with your students, but your parents or your junior students. We don't want it just to be transactional. Okay. We want them to have a relationship. So you're talking to them on a regular basis. You're talking about what a good job their child is and what they is doing and what they need to work on. And now you got rapport and you walk up and you say, "Hey, Anna, just wanted to let you know I love having your daughter in the program. Does she have any friends that could benefit from the program?" One-on-one ask. Okay. And then, of course, all the things that we know, it's best to have a referrable event. Like next week is Buddy Day or there's Parents Night Out coming up. Guys, you know all this, okay, already. What my challenge that I see is most people don't actually take action on asking for referrals to the level with which they should, okay? So imagine, is it realistic to think if I ask for 2 referrals a day and I'm open 5 days a week and I get ask for 20 referrals in a month, is it realistic to think that I might get 3 people to bring in a friend? Is that a realistic number? Pretty realistic. You guys got that? Is it realistic that out of those 3 people, because we know referrals are the highest, they're most likely to enroll because their friends already told them the price, they're raving fans already, their friends are. Is it realistic out of those 3 people that came in that 2 of them enroll? Yes, it is. Okay, so fast forward a year, you enrolled 24 people more than you currently have. And if your attention is good, you have 18 more members just by doing that. Okay, so it sounds simple, but it's uber powerful. Okay, so one more strategy I wanted to discuss, and I wanted to open up for questions. I'm actually going to turn it over to Anna for a minute, but one more strategy I want to talk about because I know before y'all were on the call, we were talking, some of us were on the call, we're talking about the weather, right? And spring is coming. Some of us, for us, it's already here almost. Sorry to rub it in. Okay, the joys of California, I guess. Uh, 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 so side joke. Anyway, so the deal is there's going to be all these opportunities for you to get out in your community for booths and fairs and festivals. Okay. Now, here's the question I have for you. How many guys have ever done a booth or a fair and you got no results? Anybody? That's happened to us a bunch of times. Anybody a fisherman here? Okay. If not, all right, Master Guest, have you ever gone fishing and not caught a fish? Yes, you have. Okay. But the only way you're going to catch a fish is putting a worm on the hook and throwing it in the water, right? So to speak. So the deal is sometimes these events, you don't always get a home run. Okay. But they can be incredible. So if you're wondering, hey, how do I find out about the events in my community? It's this simple. Type in community events and your zip code and watch what gets kicked out. There's going to be a whole list of stuff. And by the way, most of it you're not going to be interested in. But just to put it in perspective, um, the key thing, let's say you got a table at the local grade school spring festival. Okay, you got a booth or a table. Once you have that, that's half the battle. But the most important thing is not really how it's nice to have a cool looking booth. It's nice to have a wheel to spin or a board to break or a bag to hit. All that's wonderful. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to do that. We've done them all. The most important thing is having somebody there that wants to be there. Okay, that's willing to engage with people. Years ago, we have a table booth or a table at the grade school that my kids went to, and I show up on a guy named Paul Duarte that's been working for us forever, still works for us, is running the booth. And because we had another booth at another location that day. He's just got a table with a tablecloth. It's nothing fancy. Directly across from us was our main competition in Sacramento. They have a bunch of schools. They have this massive booth, this gorgeous booth. They have three young, probably high-level athletes that are there to man the booth. All three of them are sitting behind the booth with their arms crossed, disengaging completely. Paul is in front of the booth. He's having conversations. By the way, there wasn't a lot of people there. It was pretty lightly attended. I walk up and I realize, oh man, I feel sorry. I'm gonna for Paul. I'm gonna actually apologize to him. Hey, I'm sorry that this event wasn't bigger. And before I can do that, he would say, "Hey, Mr. Kovar, good to see you. I love events like this." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, when there's not a lot of people, I get a chance to really interact. I enrolled 3 members today. And I promise you, the guys across the way from me went back to their boss and said, let's not ever do that booth again." Okay. So if you are going to do booth events, the most important thing you can do is have someone that's motivated, that wants to be there. And of course, you know how you hear about someone having a birthday party and they enrolled 23 members off it, and a buddy day they enrolled 46, and you guys are kind of rolling your eyes like, really? Yeah, but what it is that we tend to highlight our best events. And that's what I want to do. I want to highlight an event we had. We have a gentleman named Joel. He's one of our program directors that would rather do a booth event than go to the Super Bowl. He loves doing booth events. Like, he loves it. He registered, not getting, guys, this is not leads. This is registration. He scheduled 62 appointments at a local booth. It was called the Chicken Festival. Okay. And at one location, his location, it was 52. Another location that was somewhat in the same range, it was 10. By the way, out of those 62, 41 showed up. And we ended up enrolling 24 members from that one event. Now, guys, that doesn't always happen. You guys get that? That's definitely, one of the best events I've heard of, but that's possible to do. Okay, so if booth events have not worked for you before, I would strongly encourage you guys to consider them as well. And like I said, easy to find, your zip code and community events, and then man it correctly. Either a spinning wheel, a board break, a bag, preferably 2 people, one to interact with parents and one to interact with kids, to have some kind of a goal for them, right? Incentive, of course, what we do if they spin a wheel, and by the way, we never go for leads. We'll take leads, but we go for appointments, because there's nothing more disheartening than going for a mall show, a booth, and getting 183 leads and then going back. How many guys ever done that and they had to reach out to all those people? Most of them are wrong numbers. Yeah, it's disheartening. So we focus on generating appointments, and the incentive is if you give us an appointment, we'll give you a free t-shirt when you show up, or some other discount like that right there. Okay, so real quick, the 4 points. So we talked about 5 things. You getting out on social media. Okay, second one is reaching out to old leads. Third one is reaching out to old students. That's a different conversation. Fourth one is asking for referrals. Fifth one is getting outside in booth events. Okay. And all value, your worthwhile things. In just a second, we're going to open up for Q&A. I would love to either hear questions that you might have for Alexis or I, or maybe some other suggestions that you're doing well. But I want to turn the floor over to Miss Anna, because she's got some great announcements. Ma'am, you are on.
Thank you. Yes, like Hanshi said we're going to open it up for some Q&A in just a second, so make sure you have your questions written down and saved for that. But before we do, we wanted to highlight, we've been talking today about grassroots marketing, asking for referrals, tracking leads, and we wanted to highlight some key features in your EFC software that does this for you and helps you keep organized. So I'm just going to share a short video with you, and in the chat will be posted an email address if you would like help learning how to set this up, getting more information, having us walk you through it. That'll be in the chat there for you. So please feel free to use that contact information at any time to get in touch with us. So we're going to be hearing from our head of product, Joe Lawrence.
Hi, everyone. Quick software highlight tied to this month's topic, which is grassroots marketing. When we get leads from community events and referrals, the goal is to capture them cleanly and to follow up quickly every time. First, from the new leads list, we can choose to message a lead immediately. Here, we'll choose a new leads template. We'll add a quick subject line like, "Thank you for your interest," and we'll send it. This way, even when you're manually messaging leads, it stays consistent and it looks professional, and you can get it done in seconds. Now, we're going to make that process automatic. From the library section in the automations folder, we can set up a lead follow-up automation. The idea here is simple. When a lead is created, Aquila can send a follow-up message for us using merge fields like @location, so the message stays personalized to your school. Next, in the templates folder in the library section, we can build those messages once and we can reuse them. We can use Aquila's AI to generate a draft instantly. Here, we're going to generate a template using the description follow-up email for a martial arts lead inquiry. From here, Aquila creates a ready-to-use email that starts with personalization, like the member's first name. And we can also edit and we can save it as our default follow-up message. Now, where do those leads come from? In the Forms folder in the Library tab, we can create a contact form URL with one click. This is perfect for grassroots marketing because we can turn it into a QR code and we can share it on social links. This is what that form looks like on the public side. It's a contact form that's customizable and simple, and it captures the basics quickly. This means that a conversation at a booth or a referral doesn't get lost. It turns into a real lead in your system. Finally, the next pillar of grassroots marketing is referrals. Inside the member portal, and also in the student's mobile app, there's a built-in refer a friend flow. A member enters their friend's information, they click invite, and Aquila sends the invitation and confirms to you that it's delivered. This way, referrals aren't informal. They're trackable and repeatable, and it's easy for members to share it with their friends from almost anywhere. And that's the loop in EFC software. You can capture leads, you can follow up with templates, you can automate the response, and you can turn members into a referral channel. And this is all built for grassroots marketing and for grassroots growth.
So our challenge for those of you with your EFC software is, can you ask 5 of your happiest students, in spirit of what Hanshi just shared, the challenge that he shared with you guys too. Can you ask 5 of your happiest students to open up their Aquila student app and use that refer a friend feature on the left-hand side to invite someone that they know? The loop is already built in there for you. So we encourage you, can you do that within this next week? Ask 5 of your happiest students to open up that refer a friend feature. I have just 2 more quick announcements before we do the Q&A section. I wanted to remind everyone that EFC and Kovar Systems, we'd love to see you guys at one of the upcoming events. EFC is partnering with Kovar Systems for their upcoming ProMac events. There's ProMac Central happening next week, February 21st in Hurst, Texas. That's kind of right between Dallas and Fort Worth. Hanshi will be there, Kovar Systems will be there, EFC will be there. It'll be a great day filled with lots of great content for you and your staff. We also have ProMac East coming up in March 7th in New Jersey at one of Nancy Walzog's schools. Several of you on this call are already going to be there, so we can't wait to see you. And then in May, ProMac International is happening May 15th through the 16th in Carmichael, California. And we wanted to remind you guys that EFC is proud to sponsor your free tickets to the ProMac Central and East events coming up in February and March. All you have to do is just click the link in the chat that Nick shared to request your free tickets. We're happy to sponsor you and key staff to those ProMac events, both happening next weekend and March 7th in New Jersey. So please keep your ear out for some more information. We have some exciting announcements coming up about that May 15th and 16th event in California. But please take advantage of these free tickets. We're excited to see you guys out and about at one of these regional events coming up in these next couple of months. And then the last announcement I have is please save the date for our March EFC coaching call. The focus of this March call will be on summer camps and summer programs. March is a great time to already be thinking about your summer plan and how to maximize your camps, your programs to help build your school culture. That date will be Wednesday. We're going to try Wednesday again. Wednesday, March 18th. Wednesday, March 18th at 1 p.m. And we're going to be focusing on summer camps and summer programs. So we'll be sending out the link to register coming up in our communications as well. So we'd be happy to see you guys on that call. And feel free, if there's any questions about what I've shared, to pop them in the chat as well during this Q&A section. EFC will be happy to respond in the chat. So I'll hand that over to Hanshi now for the Q&A section.
All right, outstanding. Well, I love what you're doing with the software. Amazing. I was actually going to ask John Kokinos before we go to Q&A. You always have such great words of wisdom. What do you got for us, sir? You're on mute still. You're on mute, sir. There you go.
I think we should realize our potential, and I think we should keep our promises, and I think we should tap the pencil, darn it, Dave. We need to tap the damn pencil.
You know what? That's those you don't know. That's Papa Nick, right? And I think about that all the time. And my word for this year is exceptional.
Yes,
Like,
that means that I have to go in and spend 20 minutes by myself in my office and tap my pencil and say, I got to get promotional, ABP, always be promoting. Why don't I sit down with some of my A-rated parents in the office who's been there for a long time? Can you give me ideas? Can we have a focus group on how to grow the school? What are the ideas? We are one thought away from a great new idea. So we have to be open and promotional and ready to go. Mr. Kovar, I love host beneficiary. We went back going back through old leads. We all know this, but we got to get our hips in gear. We got to lean forward. Go ask personally for a referral. Go to the kiosk and set up the stations and get people that really want to bring people in onto those events outside. So I'm really excited about that. And I just think that we've got to raise the bar a little bit, get innovative, get creative. We're a few thoughts away. Mr. Clifford always says, tell everybody what active count that you want. Tell your students, this is our goal for the act. Include all the students in the task of reaching that goal. Create a fervor of excitement. And so I think all these ideas we pretty much know. It's just a matter of putting it into action. And we need this to get together and say, okay, I've got to get serious. I've got to come up with 5 promotional ideas a month and work with my team, the 5-15 model, and get promotional. Dave, let me go back to you.
All right, good stuff, sir. It's knowing is one thing, it's doing is another.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to say hi to Lance Soares, who's on this call. Haven't seen him in such a long time. It was great to see you. Appreciate you seeing you after these years. You're a lifelong martial artist. Craig Guest, good to see you. Tokyo Joe, good to see you. Be strong. We'll talk sometime soon. Tokyo, I'd love to connect with you. Okay, Mr. Dave, let me go back to you.
Right. Well, I wanted to pretty much just open it up. I, of course, in case you didn't know, I have plenty to talk about, but I didn't want to hog the call. I wanted to make sure that we open it up for Q&A. So here's the deal. Please raise your hand or if you have either a question or suggestion. I'm going to ask also just for this time to keep it pretty brief. So who has a question or suggestion? My good friend Dave Tomasulo, who lives around the corner from me but never comes and visits. What do you have, sir?
Yes, sir. Good to see you. I just a quick question. What's better, Facebook or Google?
Yes. Our experience has been we get more results and cheaper actually paid ads on Facebook than we do Google. That's where we are right now. We do both.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments on that? Alexis, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do Facebook.
Yep.
That's go-to.
Okay. Mr. Bushby, good to see you, sir. What's your question?
Good evening, sir. It was just in regards to Facebook posts and duplicating previous posts. Is there a benefit to regurgitating previous posts or images you put out in the past, or should it always be brand new content?
Alexis.
Want me to jump in on that? Yeah, you can recycle good content. Reshare it if it did well the first time, people enjoyed seeing it. We see so many pieces of content, only you're going to know that you repeated it. It might look familiar to a couple of people, but no one's going to say, hey, you already posted that. No, definitely do it.
Thank you.
And what I would recommend is not share put it out as original content, right, Alexis? Like original, don't share the share. By the way, as some of you may follow, I do personally on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube every day. It's the same video, and 2 out of 3 videos are new and unique. One is a reshare that I did a year ago that got good results. Okay, and that makes the job a lot easier. To do that. So I'm just paying attention to the ones that seem to get the most response, and those are the ones that I'm reposting. Other questions or suggestions or comments? Okay, if I don't hear of any, I've got another thing to discuss here. Anybody else?
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. What's up? Yes, sir.
Is that you?
Oh, hey, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Good. Well, I just want to just add to everything that you taught everybody, that I think that everybody should be doing a lot of different things all at the same time. Every one of those things. You just can't pick one thing. You have to do them all. So, I do the rapid planning method, lots of things all at the same time. If something doesn't work, you make it work. You change your approach until you find the right formula. But energy and having self-discipline and just doing what you got to do and role model success, like people like you, they role model you. I think we're in a great direction.
I love it. It's so simple. It's so hard to do. Easy to say, but hard to follow. And, Mr. Kokinas talked about the 5-15 concept. And if you're not familiar with that, that's 5 marketing events by the 15th of the month. And here's the deal. They don't have to be different every month. It's not like you have to come up. Some of them might be seasonal, but some of them, tried and true are going to be the same thing every month, right? Sometimes less is better. But to your point is that, I think this comes from Jay Abrahams. I don't remember, but years ago we had Jay Abrahams. EFC hosted him for several months. It was very valuable. Do you remember that, John? It was all.
He started the VIP.
Yeah, and so the idea was, he said, and it may have been Dan Kenny, it doesn't matter. I don't know one way to get 20 new members. I know 20 ways to get 1 new member, and that is still true to this day, right? You got to get out there. You got to shake the tree. You got to try a lot of different stuff. And here's what I've seen happen. She and Alexis had talked about during COVID, she went all online because that was her only option. That's what we all did. Here's the deal. Some people got away from doing the old school grassroots marketing. They relied solely on social media. And what's old is new again. The old stuff that we were doing back in the 70s and 80s still works. Sometimes better than before because nobody's doing it anymore. Okay. I want to leave you with one thought that, since no one has any questions, something that we're focusing on right now. And it has to do with trying to call out to parents when their child is doing something on the mat and how it relates to their life skills. Okay, so here's the deal. Is that you got a parent, how many of you guys have parents that come to the stands and they're doing this, they're not even paying attention, right? And most of us do. And what happens is that you might be imparting this amazing wisdom. Their kid might have done some incredible, having a hard time with a spin kick, and finally they nailed it. And mom and dad didn't even see it. because they weren't paying attention, right? So first off, the more you can get parents to engage with the class, the better. Okay, and I know a couple of people that have a no phone zone in their school, and they talk about it in the intro. Hey guys, by the way, we do not do this. Okay, it's something I would consider. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. Hey, you know how moms and dads, you know how everybody's on their phone all the time? Well, we really want to create an environment where kids see us leading by example, being engaged. So I'm going to ask if you can minimize the time you spend on the phone and focus on the class, right? But here's the other thing. Child is sparring, and they're doing light sparring, and they're going at it. Maybe there's a big kid and a little kid, and the big kid is being really gentle with the little kid. This is a chance to walk over and say, moms and dads, do you see what's happening over there? These kids are learning emotional intelligence. They're learning how to regulate themselves based on their environment. This is going to be a really powerful skill going forward. Or when they're staying in attention stance. See, moms and dads, what's going on? This isn't just about what they're learning how to do right now is to project confidence. You know how well that's going to serve them going forward in their life? So the idea is, what can you do to relate what a child is doing on the mat to the real world? And what happens, this keeps this in an investment. What we don't want to have happen is we don't want our parents to view our program as an expense. We want them to view it as an investment. And the only way that's going to happen is if we help to point that out to them. So the more you can think about all the messages that you give, all the things they do, and what is the life skill that matches that in the real world, and how can you educate parents on that? All of a sudden, guess what? Man, your program just doubled in value. And now when money gets tight, not only in my perfect world, not only do they not cut my program when money gets tight, they don't even think about cutting my program. It just becomes a necessity, and that's a really high bar to ascribe to aspire to. But I think it's worthy of it, and so I would have you double down on that connection. Especially parents are so transactional now; it's so easy to quit online. And what can we do to keep that emotional connection strong with them? I think that's a missing link that'll make your retention massively better. So, any last questions before we wrap, or comments?
Mr. Kovar, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So if adding value is in direct proportion to getting referrals, like we got to get to the root,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Just while we're on the topic, what are a couple ways with a particular school over the history? You said, I've got to add some value, 2 or 3 areas of value. What would it specifically be? Because value is in direct proportion to referrals. So what would you say?
It's a great question. It's the concept. Imagine, do you know what they did? These 6 words. Do you know what they did? Okay. And I want you to imagine that you went to a restaurant and the service is terrible. And someone asked you, hey, I heard you went to, Joe's Pizza last night. How did it go? And they say, do you know what they did? And they proceed to vent about how terrible the service was, how bad the pizza was, all that kind of stuff. Now let's take those same words and let's imagine you just had the experience of your life. You went out for your anniversary and you went to this restaurant, first time ever being there, you heard good stuff, and you were just blown away with service. And those same 6 words, oh, yes, I did. Do you know what they did? So here's my point. What kind of things can you do to get your families to go, do you know what they did? Let me give you a good example. Last Friday night, we had a kickoff for our whole team comes from all our schools. We have 9 schools in the Sacramento Valley, and we had about 120 people there. These are all staff members and volunteers and TNT. And it's this whole elaborate evening. We have there's dinner. The whole idea is to celebrate the last year and prepare for the next year. It's at our headquarters school, which is very large, and there's plenty of space for it. Well, we did our best to cancel classes, but guess what happened anyway? A few people showed up. But fortunately, because we knew this was going to happen, guess what? We had an instructor on by waiting. So every person that came in got a 5-minute private lesson. Okay. And so they left thinking, you know what? We came at the wrong time. They already felt stupid because they came at the wrong time. And by the way, because they weren't paying attention, they probably missed classes. They're probably halfway out the door already. Okay. And what we did, this was an opportunity for them to come in. Oh, yeah, no, please stick around. Yes, we don't have an official class, but I've got instructor Bob all ready for you to give a quick private lesson. Literally 3 to 5 minutes, parents walk away, blown away, and that's a do you know what they did example.
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Well, we'll formally wrap. I'm happy to hang out for a bit. If anybody has any questions or suggestions, John Kokinos and the ESC team, thank you. Always such a pleasure interacting with you guys. Keep up the great work, and good to see all my friends out there. And like I said, I'll hang out. Otherwise, we are done for the day.